Welcome to Subramani. Uh, I'm going to talk to you about a little morbid topic, and not that very many people are comfortable handling this. Uh, and the topic is death. Uh, yes, of course, I've been telling people that you have to make a will. That is, of course, goes without saying. If you have not made it, please make it today. Don't keep postponing making the will. But more importantly, or at least equally importantly, you also need to have a document, what I would call a handover document. Like, if you were changing jobs, if you were giving your job to your junior or to a newcomer and you were moving on, you would have a document which you would give saying, I have spoken to so and so, this is pending, this is pending, this is what has happened, this is something which we considered long back, and this is the stage in which it is. So it will be a reasonable document. And if you're going to be in the same organization, this need not be so comprehensive. But if you're going out, it has to be a little more comprehensive. However, you're still around. It means you're not dead. So somebody can always call you and ask what happened. Now imagine what kind of a document do you have to create when, in case of your death, which means what are the documents that your spouse and family are going to require after you die. It gets far more complicated if you have minor children and your spouse does not take enough interest in what you're doing. That is the worst case scenario. Or both parents die at the same time with minor children. That is the most horrible thing that you can think of. It's an ultimate disaster and a nightmare, because you cannot create perfect documentation when your children are so young. First of all, you're not at all prepared for death at the age of say 35. Secondly, because your kids are so small, you couldn't have shared anything with them, and there has to be somebody, some friend, some brother-in-law, sister-in-law, somebody with whom you would have shared a little bit. But you would never have shared in such comprehensive detail the things that they will require. So let's start with a simple thing. Let's say you made a list of professionals whom you engage with. So you have a family doctor, you have a dentist, maybe you have a gynecologist, you have some pediatrician where you take your children. Now these are fine. This very clearly you know that there is Praveen Gaikwad, Dr. Praveen Gaikwad. He is a pediatrician. That's known to people. That's okay, fine. You know why you go to a pediatrician. Now you are also told that you have XYZ who is a financial planner, and that's it. Then you're wondering, who is this financial planner? What does he do? Because you have not shared that with anybody. So is this a guy who will get you a loan? Is this a guy who will sell you life insurance? Is he a life insurance agent? Nobody knows. So you have a financial planner, you have a registered investment advisor, you have a life insurance agent, you have an IFA, and you have a bank relationship manager, and you have accountant, two banks. In both banks you have bank relationship manager. Now your surviving spouse has no clue what each person is going to do. So you need to have a small 50-word thing, description on what that person does, why that person does, and what you should go to him for, what you should not. You should not go to your chartered accountant and ask what is happening with my mutual funds. He may not know. Your mutual fund agent may not know what is happening with your income. This is, I'm just talking of finance and other professionals. You write, so you know what also, you write down a list of this. You write down where all you have bank accounts. That should also find a mention in your will. But in your will, if you have taken a broader view saying all my bank accounts, it's not there. So ideally have just one or two bank accounts for whatever logic you have opened, especially if you're older. When you're younger, what happens is whenever you change a job or whenever you change a location, you open different bank accounts. Now thank God you don't need to do, but still people do. So then make sure you cut all that down, but again create a document. I'm in the process of creating a document. Maybe I will be able to give access to you. I'm talking to somebody about this. What all should it contain? It should contain everything, right from your email, your email password, your bank password, your bank account details, your insurance policy details, your mutual fund details. Again, in case there is a login and a password, that, and if in case you lock your phone, then the key to the phone, and if you have changed your password, if you have changed the digital code with which you, the 4-digit code with which you use your credit card, your debit card, right? Of course, once you have access to your bank accounts, then the debit card, credit card will follow. That's not so much of an issue, but you will still need all that. So, then a list of jewelry in case you have jewelry. This is, of course, applicable to both men and women. Where the jewelry is located, where the will is located, who are the people to be intimated the minute you die, which means right for the funeral arrangements. Is there somebody who will come and take charge of the full funeral? There are some such voluntary and paid organizations who will do this for you. So that need not find a mention in this document, but at least your spouse should know whom to contact. So these kind of all these kind of documents apart from the will is also necessary. So what should you do? You should ideally take a printout, write and keep it, and make sure that it is updated regularly. Your spouse understands what you have written, your children understand what is written. In case you have donated your body, if there's an organ donation, mention the person whom your daughter or son should call to give away your body. All that is necessary, right? This document creation sounds very morbid, and I have been able to handle this morbidity by attending funerals. I must have attended upwards of 160, 170 funerals. So that takes away some of the fear of death, but the fear of death I don't think goes away. But to think and about death and creating these kind of documents, apart from the will, is very important, and not enough emphasis is given even by financial planners for doing all this, right? And I think this is far more necessary if you're 32, 35 and not when you're 70. When you're 70, there is a reasonable preparedness for death, and the portfolios would be far more simple. So even in case you miss out something, you may not miss out something big, right? But at 35, what could happen is your automobile, the car that you own, the motorcycle that you own, your passport, your laptop, your laptop password, your power on password, your phone, everything is password protected. All the passwords are kept in a file. That file is locked, so your spouse has absolutely no access to any of those things. Secondly, in case you're recently married, you may not have even changed the nomination. Suppose your nominee was your mother and your mother has died, that wouldn't be incorporated. So we're not really prepared for death. We're never prepared for death. But taking steps in that direction, howsoever morbid, is a fantastic thing which financial planners can do. But well, they also are human, so they also don't like to talk about death. So I think you should take the